Welcome to Urban Odyssey Audio, where we chase the shadows of truth.
Tonight we're looking past the screen glow, right into the circuitry of control. Is this global wave of paranoia just mass delusion? Or is there maybe a technological demon remotely manipulating the human mind?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? We are diving into sources detailing some really disturbing stuff. Organized intimidation stalking, electronic torture, and alleged government mind control programs targeting people worldwide.
It's heavy material. We're talking CIA programs potentially continuing under new names, V2K, that's synthetic telepathy, and this really chilling acronym, Satan.
We'll unpack all of that. Stick with us.
Yeah.
And hey, follow @officialurbanus on X for live threads and, links to the source materials we go.
Definitely check that out.
Okay, so let's unpack the origins. To really get a handle on the paranoia people are reporting now, you can't just look at the present day. You've got to go back to the history of government psychological warfare.
Exactly. The claims made by so-called targeted individuals, they sound, well, pretty out there. But our sources actually connect them directly to documented, highly classified U.S. intelligence programs from decades ago, mid-20th century stuff.
Right. It wasn't just invented yesterday.
No, not at all. The sources show this clear line, like an evolution. It started with government experiments on the human mind, often using trauma-based conditioning. It's been developing for like 60 years.
So let's trace that. It kicks off officially, 1949?
Yeah.
Project Bluebird. What was that about initially?
Bluebird was pretty foundational, trying to figure out how to enhance interrogations, maybe erase memories, implant new ones, basically gain control over someone's mind. They used hypnosis, drugs like LSD, early day stuff.
But limited.
Yeah, it had limits. For really deep, lasting control, they needed to, well, step things up.
Which brings us to Project Artichoke. And this is where it gets darker, moving beyond just getting information.
Oh, absolutely. Artichoke, early 50s. The goal here was seriously sinister. Creating programmed assassins, agents with actual split personalities, like a secondary persona that could be activated for a mission and the main person wouldn't even know.
How do they even do that?
Intense trauma, repeated trauma induction, sensory deprivation, electroshock, methods specifically designed to make the mind fragment dissociate.
Jeez. And then comes the big one everyone's heard of, MKULTRA. Started around 53.
And MKULTRA took all the Artichoke methods but blew up the scope. It wasn't just about creating individual agents anymore. It was aimed at, clandestine global manipulation, perfecting techniques for mass control.
We know about it mostly from the church committee hearings in the 70s, but the sources insist that wasn't the end of it.
Not even close. That was just the tip of the iceberg. The core research, the really sensitive stuff, it just went deeper into black budgets, new names.
New names like what? The sources mention a whole bunch.
Yeah, MK Delta, MK Search, Monarch, there were others. Monarch programming is a really disturbing one, tying back directly to those trauma techniques.
Monarch, right. And the Disney connection. Why use Disney themes? Seems bizarre.
It does, but there's a logic to it, according to the sources. Monarch is described as like MKULTRA 2.0, advanced trauma conditioning. They use powerful, really familiar symbols, Alice in Wonderland, Snow White, that kind of thing, to structure the victim's fragmented mind.
So it's like creating internal maps, using these stories.
Exactly. When the victim dissociates under stress, these themes act like mental signposts. The handler can use them to access specific programmed identities or alters using triggers. It makes the control very effective, very hidden.
So we went from physical trauma, drugs, to this incredibly sophisticated psychological conditioning hidden away. But then comes the tech leap, the technological demon.
Right, that term signifies a huge shift. It's defined in the sources as this worldwide, remotely transmitted technological force. It started under the guise of national security, but the sources claim now it's just an instrument of oppression, tyranny, world domination, basically.
Remotely transmitted, that's the key. Yeah. Directed energy, electronics, changing the whole game. And this is where the concept of the targeted individual, or TI, comes in.
Yeah. A TI is someone subjected to this technological demon or other covert harassment. Placed on lists, maybe a re-education list or even a silent assassination list. They're essentially test subjects.
Test subjects for refining these remote weapons.
Yeah.
How many people are we talking about? Is this really global?
The minimum estimate, the ones supposedly under constant direct electronic torture and manipulation, at least 10,000 people globally. These are the active experiments.
But potentially much wider influence.
That's the chilling part. The sources suggest the influence of these methods, mass data collection, maybe subliminal stuff, could have affected pretty much everyone in some ways since maybe the mid-60s.
Wow. So the TIs are the intense focus group, and the rest of us get the the diluted version.
Kind of. TIs are the data points used to perfect the control mechanisms that might then be applied more broadly, maybe more subtly, to the general population.
Who's pulling the strings on this scale? It can't be just whoever's in office.
No, the sources are clear. This operates above presidents, above Congress, the deep state, shadow government, whatever you want to call it. They have autonomy, they lie to the public, they control the black budgets. It's a self-perpetuating machine.
And the claim is it's not just about control, it's eugenics.
That's the terrifying conclusion in some of this material. A system for eugenics of so-called dissidents. And it has a name.
Satan.
Satan. Silent assassination through adaptive neural networks.
Okay, that's blunt.
It describes the function perfectly. Plausibly deniable removal of people deemed problematic. Induced mental illness symptoms, physical problems, even suicide, all remotely. It looks natural or self-inflicted.
Silent. Eugenics of dissidents. So, weeding out people who think differently, who question authority.
That's the implication. Using these adaptive neural networks, constantly monitoring, profiling, looking for independent minds that pose a threat. Once flagged, the Satan system kicks in. It's designed to ensure conformity by eliminating the nonconformists.
A feedback loop. The more you figure out, the bigger a target you become. Hashtag tag 3, core revelations and debates.
So if this structure exists, how does it actually work day to day? How do they maintain that plausible deniability?
Right, the toolkit. Bridging the psych warfare with the high-tech stuff.
Let's start with the psychological tools. Gaslighting is key.
We hear that term a lot, but here it's a weapon, right?
Absolutely. The goal isn't just to make the TI feel crazy, it's to make them look clinically unstable to everyone else, mimicking paranoid schizophrenia symptoms perfectly. Hearing voices, weird coincidences, thinking neighbors are involved, it's all part of the script.
And this works because of things like the Martha Mitchell effect.
Exactly. Where someone tells a bizarre story, gets called delusional, but then it turns out they were telling the truth all along, like Martha Mitchell and Watergate. The system is designed so that when a TI reports this stuff, they automatically fit the crazy profile. It's a built-in defense.
Okay, so the psych discrediting is the cover. How do they actually get inside the head? This V2K, voice-to-skull, or synthetic telepathy.
Yeah.
How did that work?
V2K is the term TIs use most. It's described as direct transmission of sound, thoughts, sensations right into the mind, bypassing the ears. Uses electromagnetic radiation, maybe pulsed microwaves or ultrasound-focused energy.
Are there specific technologies mentioned?
Yeah, the sources reference things like the Fray effect, perceiving sound from radio frequencies, but the really advanced stuff. Likely phased array systems targeting the individual's unique brain signature.
And it doesn't just start like a loud voice in your head, usually.
No, that's crucial. It often starts subtly. Faint noises, white noise, maybe sounds like distant chatter. Seems like bad plumbing or noisy neighbors. The brain slowly gets used to the signal. Then over time, it becomes a clear voice. Inside the head, no direction. Pure synthetic telepathy.
So the tech basically rewires the brain to accept this external signal as internal thought. And it's bidirectional. It reads, too.
That's the terrifying part. Yes, it transmits and receives emotions, words, sensations, both ways. They're not just sending abuse or commands. They're reading the TI's real-time thoughts, feelings, stress levels, which is vital for that adaptive part of Satan.
Which leads straight into mind hacking. If they can read brain signals. What about privacy? That's work.
Total vulnerability. Sources say passwords, fears, memories can be pulled out even while you sleep. They analyze the P300 recognition signal delay.
A P300 signal. Explain that.
It's a spike in brain activity. It happens about 300 milliseconds after you recognize something meaningful. Like if you see a bunch of random numbers and your PN number flashes up, your brain gives a little involuntary zap of recognition.
So they flash data at you. Letters, numbers.
Yeah, while monitoring your brain remotely. When a digit from your password shows up, that P300 spike is faster, stronger. They track those spikes and boom, password cracked in minutes. You didn't consciously give it away.
And they can do this with cheap, off-the-shelf tech. So what can intelligence agencies do?
Pretty much anything. Near total access. Your brain becomes the ultimate security flaw for everything. Financial data, medical history, your deepest fears, all accessible. And they can use it for interrogation without you saying a word, just tracking what your brain recognizes.
So when a TI tries to report this level of violation to the police or FBI,
they walk right into the trap. Intentional discrediting. The system banks on the public thinking, no way, that's impossible, sounds crazy. Those labels, crazy conspiracy theorists, they were weaponized precisely to hide this stuff.
and trying to get help just makes it worse.
Devastatingly so. Contacting authorities. Just creates a paper trail confirming the mental instability narrative, might even lead to forced medication. TIs are also pushed into the shame game, blaming themselves or their neighbors, distracting from the real source. They waste money moving, trying useless shielding. It isolates and silences them.
Okay, let's use our truth meter. The idea of creating a programmed assassin. How plausible is that based on the sources?
Based on the historical docs from Artichoke, MKULTRA, and specific flowcharts mentioned in the source material for creating assassins or suicides, we have to rate that 100% plausible. It's a documented capability they were actively developing.
What's the supposed process?
Starts with finding someone susceptible. Then extreme stress, trauma may be delivered remotely now to fragment the personality. Then things like NLP, trigger words, symbols. Install a new psychopathic persona for the mission. It's about proving total control, gathering data.
And use for false flags.
That's the claim. Create these psychopaths to carry out violence, mass shootings, whatever. So fear. Then use that fear to justify more surveillance, gun control, more power for the state. Turning someone non-violent into an assassin is apparently the hardest program, so it yields the best data.
Quick myth bust. Tinfoil hats? Any use?
Yep. Big myth. Sources say don't wear them. The foil can actually act like an antenna or resonant cavity. It might amplify the signal hitting your head.
Why doesn't simple shielding work?
Because it's not simple radio waves, it's complex stuff. Focused microwaves, extremely low frequencies, ELF, maybe resonance tech like NMR or ESR, multimodal attacks. Static shield like foil just can't cope with an adaptive full-spectrum signal.
You mentioned the brain's Q factor, like 3,000. What does that mean?
Q factor is about resonance. How sharply something tunes to a frequency, how well it holds energy. A high Q factor, like 3,000 for the brain and body, means it's like a super sensitive radio receiver. It can be tuned into very precisely.
So they can target one person's specific biosignature with resonant energy without hitting the person next to them.
That's the idea. It's not brute force, it's finesse. Highly focused energy matched to you. That's why countermeasures need to be complex, adaptive jamming, not just wrapping yourself in foil. Hashtag Tech4. Modern ties and implications.
Okay, connect this V2K mind hacking Satan stuff to today. Mass surveillance, PRISM. Is this system operational now?
The sources draw a direct line. Think PRISM, but deeper, more invasive. It's fully integrated using all available tech.
Not just collecting metadata.
No, total information access, every conversation recorded, analyzed, social media, bank records, health records, emotional patterns. It's not for safety, it's for leverage. Blackmail, control, destruction.
And voice sampling, using voices people know.
Yeah, using V2K to project voices of friends, family into the TI's head. A false flag to make the TI think their own network is betraying them. Ensures total isolation. Destroys their support system.
It really paints a picture of government operating like a criminal enterprise using advanced tech.
And it extends to physical disruption, electronic warfare. TIs report very specific things happening constantly.
Like what? Give us examples from the sources.
Cars stalling suddenly. Garage doors opening on their own. Car alarms mysteriously disabled. Computer drives wiped right before a deadline. It's not random bad luck. It's targeted harassment designed to break finances, careers, sanity, make life chaotic, debilitating.
Psychological torture disguised as just. Life being difficult. What's the ultimate psychological goal of all this?
Break the will. Induce an artificial bipolar state, manic highs, crushing lows, constantly manipulated. Because they're reading the TI's emotions in real time, they can amplify whatever state they're in. Feeling hopeful, ramp up the abuse. Feeling despair, amplify that. Make stability impossible.
It's the ultimate war game. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly. Designed for paralysis, learned helplessness, speak out you're crazy, seek help. Risk institutionalization, medication that might just numb you. Try to shield or move. The tech finds you. They've studied countermeasures for decades. They anticipate every move.
Which brings us to the global reach. Moving doesn't help.
Nope. The harassment follows anywhere in the world, usually within days. Because the weapons use extremely low frequencies, ELF.
ELF. Not like regular radio waves. How do they work?
Very low frequencies, below 30 hertz. The wavelengths are huge. They penetrate everything, Earth, buildings, mountains, deep underground. They use the planet itself, its magnetic field, the Schumann resonances.
So the signal isn't coming from next door. It's coming through the ground, the atmosphere, focused by massive global arrays like HAARP or similar military tech.
That's the theory. The TI is trapped in a personalized mind prison, tracked globally via these penetrating ELF fields, going off-grid, remote islands, bunkers. It doesn't work. The resonance tech gets through.
So the core endgame, It's not even really about the individual TI in the end, is it?
Not entirely. The ultimate goal is conquest, population control, world domination. TIs are the lab rats. The controllers optimize the torture by analyzing stress responses. What causes the most suffering? Let's do more of that, refine it. The TI becomes just data for perfecting totalitarian control methods.
Your suffering is just. R&D for controlling everyone else. That's bleak.
Which is why the resistance has to be psychological. The system wants predictable reactions, trapping you in a Skinner box. The only way out is to become unpredictable. Defy the profile.
So it's not about building a better Faraday cage.
Not primarily. It's about mental control. Self-knowledge, maybe hypnosis, positive affirmation, refusing to react the way they expect.
Knowledge is power, like the CIA plaque says.
You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Understanding the game, that the paranoias induced, the chaos organized, that lessens the impact. It's the only real countermeasure. Hashtag Tag 5, wrap up in CTA.
Okay, that was intense. A rapid-fire dive into the architecture of this alleged technological demon. Let's recap the core truths we pulled from the sources.
1. Modern remote mind control claims trace back to actual CIA trauma programs like Artichoke, MKULTRA, maybe Monarch. They didn't stop. They just evolved covertly.
2. There's talk of this Satan system silent assassination through adaptive neural networks aimed at a kind of eugenics, removing dissidents to normalize the population. Silently.
3. The tech is supposedly advanced. V2K synthetic telepathy, mind hacking via P300 signals, making mental privacy obsolete, and simple shielding like tinfoil, useless against these multimodal attacks.
4. The strategy is plausibly deniable destruction, using electronic warfare, gaslighting, inducing artificial bipolar states, turning people into data points to perfect global population control.
And the final thought to leave you with. You have to understand their strategy to break free from that Skinner box. They want predictable reactions. Your real defense is understanding your own mind and refusing to play their game by their rules.
For the full dive into the source docs, defense strategies, technical countermeasures, including some wild stuff about maybe changing your brain's clocking frequency, subscribe to the official urban.substack.com.
Please thread this on X, hashtag Urban Odyssey Truth. What hits you hardest? The MKULTRA history. The V2K tech. Let us know. Reply to @officialurbanus. We'll catch you next time diving deep into the hidden code.